This world is nothing like we think it is, and that which is controlling it is nothing like we think it is. People have started to look at the world and say, I don't like the way this is going. And they have become more and more open to another explanation because the old ones make no sense anymore. If people only knew the scale of what goes on in the world, they would see the world through very different eyes. Because the world is not what that frickin' thing in the corner tells you. It's not what the internet giants tell you. It's what's actually happening, and that's what they don't want to tell you. To understand the true nature of an individual action, an individual situation, you have to understand what it's connected to. Because it's not a pixel, there's a picture there, and you just have to find it. Know the outcome, and you'll see the journey. If you know where we're being taken, then the steps and the changes and the events are leading to that outcome become very clear. But if you don't know the outcome, then those same happenings appear to be completely random and have no pattern. What is the outcome? The outcome that we're being taken to, which brings in so many other dots of topical current interest and happening, is to a position where no one will ever see anything or hear anything that is not officially approved. That's the goal. Now, what we're seeing is the movement towards that, whereby anything outside of the official narrative is now hate speech, fake news, and any other label that they come up with, and there'll be many others. And of course, within that concept of only seeing and hearing whatever the authority wants you to see and hear, we then see why freedom of speech in general is being targeted. Everywhere you look, it's being targeted. Because if freedom of speech survives in any form, they can never reach the point where they can control everything that people see and hear, because free speech can challenge it. So that's why free speech is being targeted on the scale it is.
We have this global cult, which has the spider in the shadows that is directing through the web, through secret societies, and it plays out into the public arena through governments and government agencies and banking systems and corporations and so on. So you've got the spider, and the spider dictates its personnel. You can look for a solution to a situation, and what happens is you normally lead to more problems. Or you can do the wise thing, which is to remove the cause of the problem. And the cause of the problem is human acquiescence to their own enslavement and human acquiescence to authority. You look at the number of people in a country, the number of people in the world, and you compare that with the number of people who are in full knowledge, know what they're doing. Stop acquiescing with your own enslavement and your kids' enslavement, and this must end. Because only with that acquiescence can it happen. Freedom is basically the ability to make choices. The more choices you can make, the more freedom you have. And how many people in the world have the ability to make the choices they'd like to make? Very few. That means they're slaves. They're slaves to the system. The system's not serving humanity. Humanity's serving the system. And so you are in a situation where we have mass slavery. And what this cult wants to do is turn that mass slavery into utter and total slavery. But we still have the free will to say no and stop obeying. The answer is just there, staring us in the face. But what people have done, and this is systematic too, you come out of the womb and the programming starts to obey and fear authority. It starts in the schools, it goes through, fear the boss, what have you, fear the government, fear the police. I said years ago, even before current events, just note the number of times through your day where you're given instructions on what to do or what not to do, especially if you live in a city. And now, of course, it's grotesque.
You know, most people cry for freedom, but they don't really know what they want because they don't really know what freedom looks like, because we've never been free. The human race has never experienced freedom. Freedom is a whole new prospect. We have a concept of it, but it's something that we've never ever experienced, and that's why no one can really find the way there. And no one can find the path to get out of this mess because no one is really prepared to participate. But the most important thing of all is for people to realize that you are the solution. You are the solution. There is no one coming along that's going to lead you to safety. There's no one who can start a big movement and spearhead an attack against the government or anything like that. Not if they're going to continue to play by these political parameters, not if they're going to continue to play by these rules. It isn't going to matter who you put in there, because the entire system is corrupt. And we are the ones that hold it up. That is the most important thing for people to understand, is that we are the ones that hold it up, and all we have to do to change the world is to pull away from the system. But the unfortunate reality is that the only way that is going to occur is if people unite with each other. You know, we have to stand up as one voice. We have to put down our differences, respect each other, allow the people around us to think differently, allow them to have different beliefs, different ideas, different rabbit holes they're looking into, and just respect that and realize that we all face a common foe, and that all that really exists within this entire social structure, no matter where you are on the food chain, is people. It's just people. All of the problems that we face are all coming from people who are actually people that we employ to do the opposite of what they're doing. And the greatest tool they've used against us is division, ladies and gentlemen, and that is why there has been so much division interjected into the movement in the last few years. And anybody who is promoting division, anybody who is saying we should not include this person because they have a different belief system to us, is doing the government's work for them. And you should step away from these people and unite with other people. Unite with everybody around you. Unite as one voice. You don't need a leader. You don't need a belief system. You don't need any of that stuff. What we need is freedom. And we have a real opportunity to get it, but we're also losing that opportunity. The window is closing very, very rapidly, ladies and gentlemen. We don't have very long to turn this around. We really don't. When you can clearly see that the only real way out of this mess is through public unity, it does become quite despairing, because it's very difficult to find that unity anywhere. And everything this system does is designed to push us in the other direction and push the factions against each other. You know, many people inside, they know that something is terribly wrong, but they won't admit it to themselves, and I think this causes a huge schism within their minds. You know, they're going forward in this direction that they know is hopeless and they know they shouldn't be doing, but they try to maintain that face and keep positive about it anyway. But there's this underlying unhappiness here that I'm finding in people, even people that are really bright and happy on the surface. You know, once you start talking to them and really start to get them to open up a little bit, many of them simply just want to burst into tears. And they may be really bright and really confident people, but that's what happens. Once you crack that shell and you start talking to them, you can find that inner being, and you find that all of the trappings of the outer being, all of the external stuff is all a facade. It's all there to hide the hurt and the pain that exists inside. And I'm finding this with so many of the American people. All of it was a scam. All of it was done specifically to bring the world to exactly where it is today. None of this is by chance, ladies and gentlemen. Everything is planned. Everything is orchestrated. The entire global situation we see today has been completely orchestrated. There is nothing that happens on the global stage that does not happen by design. You know, all of these governments collude with each other, every single one of them. It doesn't matter who it is. It's just who decides to play the enemy today, who decides to play the villain, who's going to have the war on their turf for a little while, where's it going to lead, where's the bucks, sign me up. That's what it's for. It's all about bringing about this whole agenda of control. They wouldn't be able to control you if they weren't wars. They wouldn't be able to control you if there wasn't an enemy. That is the entire reason for government, to create enemies. Governments can be created, then they war against each other, and the people suffer. It's never the governments, it's always the people. And this has been a long, long plan. It's been going on for centuries upon centuries. The slow plan for control of this entire biosphere, the slow plan for control of everything under the biosphere. That's the plan of the ruling elite, ladies and gentlemen, the ruling catastocracy. They want to control everybody and everything. That's what it's always been about. It hasn't been about money, it hasn't been about wealth, it's been about control. They want to be able to control every rock, every blade of grass, and every being, living or not, every animal, every bird, every drop of water, everything. That's what it's about. And that's what it's always been about. All of the other stuff, all the fighting amongst each other, all these little goals along the side, all these wars, all of this degradation, it's all been theatre just to keep us distracted, just to keep us busy. This is the way we're going, and humanity is on the brink of a very, very new reality. And it's time we paid attention, because we are the ones that are going to shape the direction that reality goes. So the choice is up to you. It's up to each of us. We just have to realize that we've now come to that time in history where we are being required to make that choice. And don't let someone make it for you, because the choice of your future is yours and yours alone to make. Don't let that get stolen from you, because if it gets stolen from you, then you're also allowing it to be stolen from your children, and we don't want that.